Hello and welcome to another episode of Moose's Gear Goo Review. I'm Moose, and today we have another knife review, and that is of the SOG Terminus. The SOG Terminus. This is an awesome slip joint tactical folder that just really hits the mark on a couple of things for me personally, and I think a lot of people would like this one as well. So let's get into the specs. And the specs of this cool little blade are the overall length is 7 inches, the blade length is 3 inches, the blade thickness is 0.11 inches thick, the handle length is 4 inches long, and the overall weight on this guy is 2.9 ounces. So it's under 3 ounces, which is always excellent in my book, especially for an EDC knife. So taking a look at this guy, this has a very utilitarian look, but it also has some tactical elements to it. And so they more or less, SOG is known for kind of making tactical knives. And I forgot what SOG stands for, so if you do know, please leave it in the comments below. But I believe it has some sort of military connection. That being said, starting with the blade shape, we have kind of a drop point blade. It is a hollow grind, but it's a plain edge blade. It looks pretty sweet. Has this kind of false wedge up top here. You do have nail nicks on both sides of the blade to make this an ambidextrous knife. There is a choil, a sharpening choil there, as well as a little finger guard that helps make this more of a tactical knife. On the top, you see a little bit of a recessed area here, and that is where the jimping is. And honestly, the jimping is placed in a very good spot, and the jimping's not too harsh, but it does lock your hand in very well without any gloves so far. On the front, you see the SOG logo with the knife name underneath saying Terminus, if you can see that. And then on the opposite side, you see their little skull beret guy there. I hope. And yep, it also says CTS BD1. Whoa, focus. So it says CTS BD1 as well, which is my favorite blade steel. And that is why this is also a kind of a home run for me. And the blade has just like a black powder coating on it to prevent rust, or at least shine, making it once again a more tactical knife. This knife does come in a couple of different variations. One with a tan handle scale and no coating on the blade. And then I believe too you can also get a serrated version. Going into the handle, you see kind of a unique handle shape. My one and only gripe has to do with the overall handle shape, and I'll get into that, but it does have this really nice textured G10 handle scales with the SOG logo pressed in, as well as these other grooves in here that add a good amount of grip. The hardware is kind of a stepped pivot pin there. It looks pretty sweet, and all the other hardware is blacked out. The stainless steel liners are also black powder coated, and it looks like there is really no cutouts on either side of the liners. Then you have kind of I don't believe it's G10, I think it's like a GFN or an RFN backspacer. So it's a partially 3/4 flow through construction. Onto the backside, it has a mirrored handle scale, your pivot pin, and then we have one of SOG's famous super deep carry pocket clips, fold over clip with the SOG SOG logo pressed in, and you can flip it to either side at the tail end. So it is definitely an ambidextrous knife. And as far as like how the locking mechanism works, it works by having two kind of detents or like a liner lock pressed into the blade tang as you rotate it. Well, that's part of it, but there's actually a stop bar in the back. So it doesn't necessarily press in, but it holds this bar. If I was holding a bar, it holds the bar down, and so when the blade tang folds under, it clips it, and it presses it down, holding the blade open slightly. Then you just rotate it up, and the bar will slide up and let the tang fold shut. So yeah. So the cool thing too with this knife is that the Terminus, because it doesn't have thumb studs and because it's not a locking blade, this makes this much more, how do you say, legally friendly in places that have more stricter knife laws. So in Europe, you'd probably be able to carry this in more places than you would any typical liner lock, frame lock, or axis lock knife, because it's not a locking blade and it is a two-hand opening blade as well. So you need two hands to open it. That being said, going into the handle, the things I don't like has to do with the handle. As you can see, you kind of have this bowed out part here, kind of a palm swell for the handle there, but then you have this just flat here, and I really wish this kind of indent here, this choil, would have actually extended into this, because here it's pretty comfortable, but you want to choke up to here, but you know, your hands fit fine in there, but then you just have this kind of squared off flat, and I think it could have been slightly more ergonomic if they would have rounded that and made it more of a choil. But other than that, you know, holding this position is definitely usable, definitely workable, and whatnot. And like I said, it has BD1 blade steel, which, based on some other YouTubers testing, actually works really well, and it's pretty close to, you know, CTS 154, and you know, it's a couple steps down, but it's up there. It's definitely up past VG10, so it's a better steel than VG10 based on the testing that I have seen, and in my use, I just prefer it because it's pretty easy to sharpen, and it's definitely more budget friendly. So definitely like the blade steel. All right, so let's check it compared to a couple other knives. We have the Kershaw Leak. We have the Spyderco Delica 4. And we'll also throw in the Dozier, K-Bar Dozier. And why not a Benchmade too? We'll throw in the Bug Out. So as you can see, blade length wise, it's 3 inches along with most of these other knives. Looks like the Bug Out's slightly larger, but the rest of these are all about the same handle width. They're all about the same. It looks actually like the Terminus is slightly shorter in handle, but other than that, they look pretty similar. So now we're going to check blade thickness. The blade thickness is pretty thin on the Terminus, but it looks about the same as the Bug Out. Looks about the same as the Leak. I do really like this forest green color on the Leak here. Pretty cool. Check it. Looks about the same thickness as the Delica 4. And looks like the K-Bar is just slightly thicker. So there's that. Now, I have carried this knife around, and I have really enjoyed it. And it works great in a lot of capacities, and it's stayed really sharp for me. It's just an awesome slicer, and the weight is really nice, and the G10, the grip is just really grippy, even with the cloth glove, and that jimping is just done perfect. Even with a cloth gloved, it's biting into that. So you can potentially close it one-handed. Just have to get over that detent. Opening it one-handed is next to impossible. But so 2 hands, just fine. Feels great. Reverse grip, feels good. So definitely impressive. Definitely a great quality knife from SOG. Build quality is spot on, and materials are excellent. Really impressed with the G10 as well. And for the price at the time of this video, when I got this, I got it for I think around 40 bucks. Originally it came out at like 60, but I think you can get around anywhere from $30 to $40 at the time of this video. And I'll leave links to Amazon down below if you want to check it out for the most up-to-date pricing. Other than that, guys, definitely give this one a shot. Keep it on the radar, especially you European folks or people with stricter knife laws. This might comply with those, and it would be a great carry for you guys to have in your kit. So thank you, guys. Thank you so much. Definitely check it out, SOG Terminus. Check out these other 2 videos here. Check the eye in the bottom to subscribe, and hit that notification bell. Like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you outside. Thank you.